Okay. Because we'll start with the minutes. So, does anyone have anything that they'd like to talk about or announce besides the Grape 2 deployment?
I don't think so. I can say that I am, let's see, I'm working on reviewing the campsite workshop abstracts, and I think I have to send an email out to the committee. I think we're planning on meeting next Tuesday, so I better choose a time for that based on the doodle responses, and then hopefully within a week or so we'll have a draft of the campsite workshop agenda and start being able to get people's travel arrangements made.
Okay. I think we can jump right into Grape 2. John?
In short, it's been an extremely stressful week for me. Started out, I got all of the mods made for the diodes that were in wrong, and then Saturday night, I discovered that there is a timing issue with some slow parts on the boards, and 35 of the 36 boards will not capture at the full rate, and the 36th board has a dead short on it someplace, so I'm at a zero yield right now. I was hoping to have this wrapped up last night, but DigiKey shipped me the wrong parts. It was the right part number, but it was a 3/10 wide package instead of a 2/10 wide package. So I have a new set of parts coming tonight. The issue is it looks like the 74HC 74D flip-flops are too slow, and they're missing, and I'm seeing a bunch of jumping and jittering in the data collection engine. So I suspect that should fix it. Once we get past that, then the final checkout will pretty much be completed. Everything else works. And I've sent a box or a completed unit to Bill Blackwell, and he's running it. He has a major breakthrough on the software. I won't steal his thunder, but I'm really excited about what he got working. And I also have some pictures I would like to share about progress on the enclosure. I've been working with Majid, and he has done a phenomenal job. So if I could share my screen. All right, which one? There we go. I think that should do it. That is a picture of the first iteration of the box. These two parts, they grip this rail here and hold the top of the case on. That's the back view. And this is the power input, the RJ45 for the magnetometer, and this is the Pico connection up to the Raspberry Pi. There are the ports for Pi. This isn't plugged in right anyway, but the bottom one will be for the Pico. The top one's going to be for the Leo Bodnar, which is in the front section, and then the bottom right will be the hard drive, and the top right will be open at this point, and then obviously the RJ45 for the Ethernet connection. There's the other side. He had put a hole in there for removing the SD card, but I'm having him eliminate that since I'm going to take things apart anyway if you have to replace it. That's sort of a full front view with everything together. Now, this particular one did not mount the Leo Bodnar or the Raspberry Pi inside the case. I had stuck them on top of the box for positioning, and he assumed I was going to be double-side taping them to all of them. And I said, no, we need to have little ledges on that. Well, let's see. Well, that's the final view of the front there and hooked up. Looks really nice. So then he came up with this idea where these rails here will hold the Raspberry Pi in place, and this will capture it. So when you plug a video connector on the side, it won't slide out. Another top view. And I told him we have to eliminate this grill because it'll ruin the laminar airflow for the heatsink. But other than that, everything looks really good, which I just emailed him about that this morning. And that's basically how the Raspberry Pi plugs in, and your access to the ports on the side. And on the ports for the USB and Ethernet. So this will have a grill on opening on top, and then this will slide together. There's a seam in here, and he's actually made a lap joint there with the 3D print. This guy is phenomenally amazing. I mean, stuff he's doing is well beyond my capabilities because he was able to create these little grippers that go into this rail, and it captures inside the rail. You'll have to see it to believe it. It's just amazing. And the end caps that he did here fit the profile of the box to within 5 thousandths. It is just mind-boggling what this guy has done. It's just obviously he's good at it. We picked the right person.
What kind of machine is he using?
It's a Prusa Mark III. I have the same machine. He sent me actually G-code, and this plate here in the back and the plate in the front take about an hour and a half to print. This section here took about 5.5 hours to print, and this one here took about, I think it was 3.5 hours. So I've already tweaked the front and back panels and sent them to Gary. We're planning on putting him on the website for help for 3D printing these because there's no way I can print 30 sets of these. We're using PLA white, although mine are all purple. We're going to put them up there and probably have people sign up to I had suggested to Gary to maybe have them print 9 each. That way you only have to have 4 people printing. The front and back plates obviously be about, well, 3 times. Yeah.
And John, we have multiple Prusa printers here.
So, okay.
So you can talk to Majid and ask him what sort of capacity we can do. Okay. It's very reasonable to ask him to print a whole bunch of these and then ship them to you.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if I was allowed to lean on him for that because he's done a heck of a lot of work with this.
I actually have some money in the budget for him to do stuff on this project.
Oh, okay. So
he's actually, I have tasked him to working with you on this.
So. I didn't realize that. Okay. So I'll have a conversation with him about what he has capabilities of printing, but this is the cat's meow. This is really amazing work that he has done. So once I get my logic controller boards all up and running, it's going to be plug and chug and start getting units to go. So like I say, the magnetometer interface is checked out, the power supply checked out, the logic engine has a problem, but I think it's the flip-flops. So it's a total of 6 chips that have to be removed from the board and replaced times 36 boards, which I could do, but I can't do it in the time frame allotted. So I contacted the the assembly house, and they offered to do the 6-chip replacement on 34 boards for $600. So I am going to go with that. I'll work with Nathaniel. We could probably put that on your credit card so we don't have to get a PO cut for that. But I'll talk to you about that later. But as soon as I verify the fix works, I take the boards over there and they can turn it in 3 days.
Great.
So but this last week I've been freaking out about this because that logic engine is the heart of the machine, and it's like the only thing that makes sense. And I did check this. Make a long story short, I had substituted a Toshiba part for the TI part that I originally used, which is a slower part, just to meet the time schedule for getting these boards made. And of course, it came back to bite me in the butt, and it bit pretty hard. I can't sit down anymore. But the parts I'm supposed to be getting should be taking care of the part. And I ordered a set Tuesday on a 2-day turn from DigiKey. I got them last night. opened the box and they sent me the SOIC 14 package, but they sent me the 3/10 wide one, not the 2/10 wide one. So I'm having to return those, which are all right here. And I'm supposed to be getting a new set this afternoon. So they're 32 cents a piece. So it's not like it's a big dollar item. It's just a performance item. So I'm going to get that done. Hopefully that fixes it. And if that's the case, I'll get the boards fixed and then it's turn on the crank key and let's start shipping units. So, but the bigger news is really not mine to share. Bill, would you like to grace the group with your major breakthrough?
Sure. Let me get my screen set up here. Rachel, can I share?
Not be stingy now.
I'm just trying to find the window that I need to share.
You've only got 37 windows open on your desktop, so that shouldn't be too hard to find.
Here it is. All right. So I've been working on integrating FLDigi with Grape 2, just to get the 1 second frequency and amplitude estimates to be reasonable. And this graph shows Grape 1 FLDigi in the blue for 10 megahertz on my station here in Florida. And the red is the Grape 2 data for the same period. And you can see that it starts out, this is the Doppler shift, and it starts out pretty much, you know, in concordance with the Grape 1 data, and then it gets better for
Are
the end.
these are filtered the same way?
Sorry.
Exact same code.
I mean, the raw data is filtered for this graph.
The raw data is in the red. It's coming in from the Grape 2, from the second radio of the Grape 2, and they're filtered the same way because they're running the same FLDigi code. But what we wanted to do is just verify that the data we're getting is reasonable.
Yeah, I understand, but in the plotting routine, it gets a Butterworth filter.
Yes, right.
Both of them get the same.
Do you know what might account for the differences?
What?
Well, there
Well,
is.
I have a theory, which is that FLDigi gets continuously better over time because of the way it's doing its windowed filtering. And
Okay.
you can see, let's see, look at the next chart. This is the signal strength. You're seeing it's different and it's getting closer.
Okay, this is a signal strength plot, not the
Not the Doppler.
not the Doppler. Okay.
Right. Now this is
Yeah.
the next chart is this morning, and you can see that they're really
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's much better.
yeah. So this just is confirming and giving us some confidence that the data we're getting is accurate. And
Great.
also it's giving us the 1 second data for the console display, which Kung's program displays every second, and it allows us to trust that. And also the 1 second normal, FLDigi type display for Christina and the researchers using FLDigi type data. This is the signal strength comparison. They're very close.
Yeah.
Now,
But it's definitely reasonable to have them be offset by a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, what you're noticing is that the Grape 1, the sound card has AGC. And the Grape 2 does not. So you're going to see much more dynamic range movement in the Grape 2 because we are not doing any audio compression with automatic gain control. So it's going to be more accurate in terms of what's really going on.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about
That's wonderful.
that is a huge breakthrough.
I agree. That's
and
wonderful.
The bigger thing is Bill figured out why we lose 2,000 samples per day.
I think I saw that in one email.
Go ahead and
Yeah.
explain it, Bill.
Well,
it's simple, but it's like, oh yeah, that makes
it
sense.
just popped out in the code when I was looking at it. If the let me see how to say this. The analysis buffer takes 512 samples at a time. And so if the number of samples per second is not an exact multiple of 512, then you get a little bit of an overhang from 1 second to the next. And after 42 of these overhangs, you miss a second. Basically, you get, 192 samples from the first second that are actually occurring in the second second. And since you're only reporting a sample every second, after 42 of these 192 overflows, you miss a whole second because it's hard to explain, but the end of 1 second is right before the full second that is missed has only 8,000 samples. So, and the beginning of the next second is right outside. So the end of the previous second and the beginning of the next second is right outside that number of samples that you're missing. I could probably write it in code better than I can explain it, but
Well, basically every second you have 192 samples that you're short, that you're stealing.
yeah.
And then after you
From the
get
next
those
second.
192 come up to 8,000, that gets shoved in for the second, but you have nothing for that second. So that's why you have this
Right.
gap.
So there's 16 512 blocks in an 8192 block sample, but we're only sampling 8,000 samples per second. So
we have
anyway.
fixed this.
So we're gonna
What
fix
we
it
did-
by changing the clock rate. Go
We
ahead.
changed the sample rate to 8192 now, so we get a full buffer every second. So we will not miss anything, and it's essentially the same sample rate. It also gets off an exact multiple of 1,000 hertz, which means the peak detection is going to be better, and we do the math correctly. So it's a
This is
win-win-win.
great. That's
Very cool.
awesome.
Thank you, Bill.
That correlation there is just mind-boggling. I mean, it's the same code you would expect it, but it's still, that goes back to the two-back. Well, anyway, the correlation
this is
is
showing all three radios together.
Oh, okay.
5 megahertz, 10 and 15. And then I think I have one. Yeah, this is from last night. And this shows an interesting thing here because, John, we're only saving 3 decimal places on the voltage peak. So that when you take the 20 times log, it
hits it
drops
right.
off to minus 60. So if we could save 6 like we do for Grape 1, we'll see a better response here.
Well, I guess that's a Nathaniel question. Would you like the higher resolution? Because we can do that.
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time.
Yeah, we're only saving 3 decimal places on the amplitude. Whereas on Grape 1, we're saving 6.
Okay.
Oh, I thought we're saving 3 decimal places on the frequency.
On the amplitude. My gut feeling is, and again, this is just a gut feeling. My gut feeling is that those extra 3 decimal places aren't really going to be helpful. But again, that's a gut feeling.
Well, for this plot, we could save it just for the sake of the plot, but
yeah. I mean, honestly, for right now while we're developing things, the amount of data that these plots take in this 1 second data is really very small.
Yeah, it's minuscule.
I mean, it's minuscule, so I mean, you might as well write in the extra decimal places.
That's
And
what I felt too, yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
and
compared to the raw
it's a
data,
little bit of user scientists beware. Just because we're writing down all these decimal places doesn't mean we're promising this accuracy.
Yeah,
exactly.
But
that's
I
really
think
on this is really on me because I had specified 3 for the frequency
yeah.
and I thought I had specified 6 for the voltage, but I guess I didn't get that clearly. So that's yeah, 6 was what we want.
Okay, yeah, we'll change that.
But that's not Bill's fault, that's my fault.
Yeah.
But this is a phenomenal breakthrough. I mean, this
This is wonderful.
Well, it was sort of like having a child or something.
yeah,
You know,
it's
giving
been painful enough.
I mean, that's what I mean. I don't know. It took about the same gestational period, but anyway,
Yeah,
Just
been
had
about
twins,
9
Bill.
months.
painful.
This is a lot of hard work. And
I agree. It is.
So I've had hardwire wise, I'm still pulling out my last remaining 3 hairs, but software wise, we had some very, very major breakthroughs. So that and the other gentleman, is his name Mike? Am I getting there?
Mike Cowan, yeah.
Yeah, he's shown some stuff that he just in an evening popped out that's showing spectral plots like digital RF is showing, and it's just like, so we may be able, if we have the processor power, be able to do something with that as well. I don't want to say I'm going to include it, but if we can and we have the processor power, we will.
Yeah.
So, like I say, that's coming along extremely well as well. So it's been a red letter week for software and a black letter week for hardware, but that's the way that things go.
That's Murphy.
Yeah. So
I think this is great progress.
I'm
very happy with this.
Yeah, I am too. So I will be in touch with you, Nathaniel, once I verify that this hardware fix works, which fingers crossed is the last hardware problem, because that's really everything else. The battery charger is working. Fortunately, I'd used rechargeable batteries for the backup. Otherwise, the backward diodes would have killed all the batteries to within 0.05 volts. I mean, it just killed them. It squashed those suckers flat. But they're rechargeable, and I've got them all working again. So good news all around. Very exciting.
That is wonderful.
I'm definitely going to be collapsing after this project.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Back to net. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Got Kung yet?
Yep.
Can't forget Kung. I'm sorry about that. My brain is not functioning yet.
No problem.
Oops. Kung?
Hi. Yeah, so last week I mentioned setting up the GPS daemon so that is working now, and that's connected to the NTP daemon. That means that now the Raspberry Pi OS is now getting its time directly from the GPS module now.
Great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great job.
The next step is I have to make sure that all of this addition is not interfering with any of the existing Grape processes. So I have to run the Grape processes for a while just to make sure that everything is working as it's supposed to. That's pretty much it. Back to the net.
Yeah, I'm still working on a script to set up the U-Blocks receiver correctly and save the parameters so when you turn power back on, it doesn't lose its mind like it's doing now. So we've got something working and making progress. There's one PPS issues that I'm discovered last night I'm going to have to resolve, but once we figure out the correct code, I'll get going to program that up, and then I'll have a utility when I bring these boxes up, I will not be running an OS with the GPS daemon running. So I can have access to the U blocks, and then we can program things into it and set it up correctly before we put put the OS with the expected connection to the GPS daemon, and everything will be good. So that's coming along very well as well.
Oh, John, regarding the making sure that the UBX config is persistent, I actually pushed up an extension to the uBlock setup program recently.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that. I haven't tried it yet because I don't have any boards. I've been tearing them apart for the other thing, but
okay.
I have a uBlocks board on there running with the Uconnect, and I'm playing around with that to see what the configuration is, because there are some subtle things with the time pulse that can screw up the synchronization logic if things align exactly, and you have control over controlling how that works. I don't want to get into that in this meeting, but yeah, I got some subtle things I got to check first on the Uconnect setup, and then we'll talk about how the final setup will go.
Sounds good.
Because right now you're running open loop on what the time pulse stuff is, because I really haven't told you what we need. So anyway, back to net.
Nice. Okay. Anything else on hardware or software?
That isn't enough.
Magnetometer.
I just want to make sure.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, Bill's got more work.
Just wondered if Dave Witten is on to update on the magnetometer interface. I don't see him, but that's what I'm working on next. So just be working with Dave to get it integrated.
Nice.
And I do have a utility on the Grape 2 for setting up the magnetometer, so it'll spit out in real time what the numbers are, so you can do your twist and alignment. So there's a utility to be able to see that. So.
Nope.
And I've got that working, obviously.
Great.
And I'm also trying to set up a public GitHub account that will be pulling on all Grape 2s, will pull nightly to the executable image directory. So if we do any updates, they all happen automatically. So
that sounds great.
It doesn't quite work the same as a normal, well, it's sort of a classroom distribution where you have a key instead of an SSH key. And it's a little different. It's the same git pull, but it's how it's handled where it's read only. So I have to figure that out. So I don't have to do 32 setups. You should be able to set up one key to do for all 3 units. So I haven't had enough traction on that one because of recent issues with hardware. So once I get that off my back, I'll be getting that going. Because that's the intent, is we don't want to have to keep updating. We want the updates to happen automatically.
Okay. See, you question me when I ask if there's anything else for Grape too.
Yeah, well.
Is there anything else for software deployment? It's okay if there isn't. Then we'll move on to updates.
It'll come to me just after you start on the next one.
Yeah. Gary, have you stepped away, or are you here presently?
No.
Do you want to talk about updates? Or you...
Looks like you're muted or something, Gary. I'm not hearing you.
Well, he's not muted presently.
It looks like he can't hear.
I think he has some sort of audio problem on his computer. I can occasionally hear just a syllable.
Yeah.
Distorted.
Must have the wrong source selected or something.
Gary will give you a minute. Any questions or comments on the Grape 2 stuff? Well,
But you go ahead and do your share.
It won't be long.
Any questions on the Grape 2 deployment or comments?
We probably really need to hear from Gary as soon as he gets his audio back.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's see, is it working
There,
yet?
that's better.
Yeah.
There we go. Woo.
Okay, I've got a transmit audio. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I had earbuds in. I went downstairs and came back up and I lost everything. So anyhow, if I could share my screen, Rachel, I'll show you where I'm at. Thank you.
And you're 5 and 9.
Even better. So the first thing I'll start with is you guys might recognize this guy in the hat, W1XP, who is helping us out at the Orlando Hamcation. Of course, the Grape 1 got a lot of press there. And interestingly enough, those of us who are studying space weather, coincidentally, we're next to the terrestrial weather booth from the National Weather Service.
Cool.
But anyhow, thanks,
That's very
Bob, for
useful.
helping spell Ed and I while we were at the booth one day. Okay, more important. So we've got about 25 or so people that have are interested in receiving a Grape 2. So there's a couple more that we need to solicit. And one thing I can show is I did figure out it's actually quite easy to make a map of stations. So that's where the Grape 1s are at, uploading to the WWV repository. John sent me a file yesterday, so thanks. So that's where the Grape 1s are at currently, the FL Digis. And the reds are the folks that have volunteered to host a Grape 2 or swap their Grape 1s with a Grape 2 in some cases. So anyhow, we've got reasonably good coverage considering the eclipse path is from Texas to the northeast. Anybody want to digest that and make a comment? Well, I'll stand by a second.
Yeah,
Gary,
looks nice.
Did you add our friend in the South Carolina coast? We're actually going to be leaving this weekend. We were hoping to take one with us, but at least help him put an antenna up. I think you got an application from him.
Yeah, I did get the application, David. And now that I'm back from Orlando, I got to dig into that stuff again.
Okay. I think that really is an important spot.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That is a true that.
Is that the location that you have on there, Gary?
No, that is a different station. Let's see.
No, I see one in a Grape 2.
Okay, let's see.
W1XP.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
that's
in
Bob.
Georgia.
So I don't this is Georgia, that's Jim, and so
Okay.
on and so forth.
Yeah, that's
So what
right
I
on
don't
the
have
border there.
What I don't have on the map are the Grape 1 DRFs. And I dropped Bill a note last night. I don't know if it's possible, if it's easy, or if it's really difficult, is to extract, node number and lat long or something like that out of the U of A database. If it's not, there's only 25 people or so that are reporting, and I can pull those out manually and take a best guess. So that Rachel and I have a complete map of everything when we come down to making the decisions.
Yeah, I can get you that, Gary. It'll be station number and lat long.
Okay, that's perfect. That's all I need then. Thank you.
Those numbers don't mean anything in the DRF system.
True, yes. Yeah, there'll be the S numbers. Yep, that's what we'll want. Okay. So anyhow, so that's that. Any other questions?
Yeah, Christina asked in the chat if it was possible for you to drop a link to the map.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that. I can do that, sure. And I'm done.
Another thing that would be neat about this map, Gary, is there are ways to embed these maps into websites. And so you could potentially embed this map right onto hamsci.org/grape.
Yeah, I know Christina had done that in the past. I'd seen where she had done that. If I've got something to look at, I can figure it out. So that'll be on the to-do list.
Nice work, Gary. That's a lot of work.
I got to thank the engineers at Google because they made it so easy. So
they do, don't they?
Yep. So love them, hate them, whatever your feelings are. We get a lot of value out of it for nothing. So, well, we're sharing our data, I guess. Anyhow. Okay. So I'll send out a few more invitations and we'll get up over the 30 number. So Rachel and I got some picking and choosing to do. The only other thing I wanted to mention is I wanted to, and I may have missed this last week, welcome the people who've joined this call in the last 2 to 3 weeks. As I sent out the invitations for the Grape 2s, I let people know about the Zoom call and the Google list and all that sort of stuff. And the folks that have joined us, one, we appreciate your time. You're making an investment of your time because we expect this to pay dividends over the very long term for the space weather research. So thanks. Welcome to all of you. I don't know if we've gone through names individually, but you're recognized and we appreciate you being here. And that's all I've got, Rachel.
Nice. I will head back to the minutes. Okay. Any updates on the other website? Oh, no, this one. I know that there was a problem with it last week. I got rid of the picture, but I'll pull a current picture. I believe it's up to date now. Maybe? Yeah. Okay. I think this looks good now from current. Does anyone have any agenda discussion type stuff that they want to talk about?
I just wanted to be sure, Bill, I need to, if we could schedule a call about access to the Grape server. We're having a lot of login rejections. And is there going to be a chance to talk with you about that whole login method to the server?
Yeah. I'll get with you.
Okay, let's just set up a call. Maybe I'm going to be busy the rest of this morning and into the afternoon. But I've also been looking at in real time at the number of where the contributions come from, and I can see there's a total of in the last few days about 36 active uploaders, of which about 8 of them are Whisper Demon Grape sites. But there's need to validate that the data that we're uploading is in fact compatible with your processing. So those are the 2 elements I've needed to. We're at the stage where we're deploying. I have 14 sites ready to go. I just need them configured, and that should make a significant addition to the database. There's maybe 14 out of what will be about 50 sites, active sites. So that's 30% of the sites would come from these Grape Whisper Demon Grape sites, but need to make sure that they're actually producing and recording useful data. So that's my goal.
Okay, yeah. Rachel, I think that AB1XB should be AB4EJ there.
Oh, sorry. EJ or AJ?
Yeah, Echo Juliet.
Echo Juliet. Sorry. No. Okay.
Rachel, I'll add an item.
Oh, sure.
Gareth Perry's Friends of the Eclipse group has its next online meeting Monday. Monday. I don't have it in my calendar. I'm all but certain it's Monday at 3 p.m. But let's check with Gareth. It would be
the link for your stuff will appear if you want to update that anytime.
Okay.
Kind of that. Okay. I know last week we said we wanted to talk about Dayton Hamvention. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but I threw it on for this week. Oops. Is that true still?
What's that?
You said last week you wanted to talk about date and convention plans this week.
Yes. So, I think things are starting to move along with the date and hamvention plans. Ward Silver has contacted me. He is going to ask the YASME board if they can support our booth costs for hamvention, and I would presumably support the costs of people's exhibitor badges. I have told hamvention that we want to have a ham sci forum there. That's going to probably be very similar to the past, where we have an hour and we'll probably have about 4 talks. I asked Hamvention if I could have a little bit more time to decide who those 4 talks would be, because I said I wanted to get through planning the HamSci workshop agenda first. And because I think based on, I like to do the HamSci workshop agenda and then talk to that committee and use that as kind of a basis for figuring out who we want to try to get to Hamvention. So that's basically in progress, but I have let them know that we want a forum. I think I did reserve a few hotel rooms for the Scranton people. So I don't know how many of us from Scranton are going so far, but I know I do have rooms in the same hotel as last year. So other people may want to think about that. I think that's all I have for now on Hamvention. And then yeah, also with Hamvention, there's basically two types of talks. There's the booth talks, which are just we have more slots for those. Those can generally be anywhere between a half hour to an hour long, and those are actually given in a booth. And then there's the actual HamSci forum talks, which are on the official Dayton program, and those we only have an hour for, and you pretty much have enough time to get up and clear your throat and then sit back down. So we keep those. Yeah, we generally have those to be like 10 to 15-minute talks, usually about 4 of them. And I imagine the themes are going to be, we just had the eclipse, so we're going to have some initial talks about eclipse results. We've made some good progress on the TID fronts. I think I'm very happy with the progress of both the Grape and the what's now the Clementine SDR project. So that personal space weather station project. The Tangerine group that had some setbacks last year, but I think thanks to Rob Robinette especially, and then Bill Karn and Dave Witten and Tom McDermott and Franco and probably a few other people. I'm really happy with where that project is going now, and I think it's developing very nicely. So we'll probably. So I'm guessing right now the HamSci forum at the Hamvention will probably be a mix of early eclipse results, an update on the TID project, probably some more updates on the Clementine and the Grape system. So that's just my guess off the top of my head right now. We'll see what I'm thinking of in 2 weeks after I talk with the rest of the committee about everything. So back to Nat.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything that they want to talk about?
I have a couple of questions. Katie Wanelli.
Go ahead.
One is the Grape 1 DRF image now in a place that it can be linked from the document page? There's still not a link there.
Well,
how about Bill? So I think the holdup with that has been Bill was trying to get that onto a Zenodo site, and he tried that a couple of times, and Zenodo's interface, for whatever reason, was giving us a lot of trouble, and we never really got down to the bottom of that. I certainly can create a either a Microsoft OneDrive link or a Google Drive link where I could certainly host a 50 gigabyte file for this. So Bill, maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe I just give you an upload spot for that, and then we create a either a Microsoft OneDrive or Google Drive link that's open to everyone, and then we can figure out the Zenodo thing later.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think the image compressed is probably less than 10 gig.
Right.
Right now, the only place I have it is on UA Box, and there's no way to make that publicly accessible. It has to be authorized on a per user basis.
Okay, I'm able to create a Microsoft OneDrive folder that you can upload it to, and then I can share that link publicly without requiring login.
All right.
Okay.
And the other question is, although I hate to shut down my Grape 1 FL Digi because it's been running for 410 days, is it likely that there will be an update based on the earlier discussion about the missing data points?
That relates to your ability to change the sample rate on the audio card. And I do not believe 8192 is an option. If you could do that, that would fix it. So it's really an operating system allowing the audio card to run at 8192 samples per second instead of 8,000. Now, I suspect that's what Dave ran into when he was writing the code, that he couldn't change it. So yes, it is technically possible, but I have no idea how to get the operating system to resample the audio stream at 8192 instead of 8,000.
Yeah, and the DRF, it seems to complain if it's not, yeah, the sound card tells you what it can do, and it says it can't do 8,000 actually on the DRF and Ubuntu. At least when I was trying to do the 3 grapes, that was a problem. Anyway, okay.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to talk about?
I've got a quick update on the personal space for the station network and the work going on there.
Sure.
Okay, mind if I show my screen here?
Go ahead.
Okay, let's try that. Okay. You see there's a few more stations in here. We're starting to see connectivity of the new RX 888 stations that generate Grape 1 compatible, DRF compatible data. Now, some of the things we're working on, we are right now working on the software that does the plotting to be able to handle uploaded files that have multiple subchannels. The files coming from the RX 888, I think it's also being called the Clementine, but anyway, generates 9 subchannels. And we're working, one of my students is working on getting the software so it will handle 9 plots. What that'll look like will be, you'll go down here and you'll see 9 of these, 9 pairs of plots down here. On a related note, we had been having some problems that on some screens, these plots would be up against the left margin and you wouldn't be able to see the first couple hours. So we moved this over to get it a bit more centered. We also added a button which allows you to download just the plot if you want just the plot. You want to have a nice clean PNG file of that. Also, another quite complicated thing is Dr. Hyomin Kim's had a graduate student last spring develop something. It's an addition to this website, which we're going to put underneath this analysis button, which just has another map under it now. But underneath this analysis website will be an addition to our website, which is very similar to SuperMag, if anybody's familiar with that. It will allow you to bring up multiple magnetometer plots and show them next to each other and show the difference between them and allow magnetometer analysis right on the website. So that's as far as the user interface, those are things that are in progress. Another thing that we're working on some security enhancements, and this is not really in my wheelhouse, so it's proving to be extremely challenging. But we're going to press forward with it as best as we can. That maybe that's related to what Rob was talking about earlier. I don't know, but we've got to get it so that each user has access really only to their own data. So that's the goal that we're working towards. And we got some input from Franco on how to do that, but we still have a ways to go on figuring out how to implement that along with the passwordless approach that Rob's team is taking. What they want to do is have each user generate an RSA key pair and put the public key on the server. So that way we can get rid of use of tokens. But is to do that and also have the kind of lockdown approach that really is necessary for good security is well, we haven't gotten that figured out yet. So anyway, that's a report from here.
All right. Thank you. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to talk about? Okay. In which case we're going to end 5 minutes early. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care, folks.
73 all.
73.
73.